Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to this session about AZL, a Dutch pension fund provider. My name is Mark Heijkers. I'm the pater familias and the CEO of Bizzomate. We are one of the oldest Mendix partners, and I'm very proud to be here. Why? Two reasons. One, we were elected Mendix Partner of the Year this year. Woo, very proud of it. But second of all, even more important, I'm proud that Edward Heijkers, CEO of AZL, is here to present what we did together. So Edward, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mark. I will. My name is Edward Heijkers. I'm CIO of AZL, and so as Mark also already said, we are a pension fund administrator in the south of the Netherlands. We provide service to 50 pension funds, and in that we service 13,000 employers and 1.5 million participants, Dutch citizens in our administration.
That's about 1 in 7 of the Dutch.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. So we have been working for 8 years together now. 8 years. We have been established 8.5 years ago. So within half a year, we got AZL as a present as one of our customers, one of our strategic customers. And we would like to talk to you about what the adventure was over the last 8 years. So we have 3 different parts of the presentation. First of all, we will talk a little bit about how AZL is using Mendix within their complete organization. Second, we would like to talk about the pension planner, which is a tool which we developed quite recently, and we are very proud of it. And third, but last but not least, what did we learn? Because there's quite some learnings to share with you, and hopefully you will prevent them in your organization. So, Edward, can you tell a little bit how you started with Mendix about 8 years ago?
Yes. It was, as you already said, 8 years ago. It was May, I think, one of the first Mendix World events in Amsterdam, and our information manager was there, and we had a strategic challenge on building an application around enforcement. Employers are obliged to fill in their pension administration within the funds. And to find those employers, we need an enforcement application. In a traditional way, we are an Oracle house. We would build, develop and design and build and test the application. But the information manager said, I went to Mendix World and I want to do a proof of success. And I want to build in 6 weeks a working application around the enforcement process. And I said to him, let's go. It's no pain, no gain. So he did it, and you were the partner. And you got 6 weeks and to build an application.
It was a nice challenge. Thank you for that still. So it was a great challenge, and the great story was when we got in, we had to do the project in the cellar of the building.
Yes.
Because IT was, it's of course the Oracle house. It was, hey, what's this? And low code was not existing then. It was rapid app development. So we were building, and then we came, after 6 weeks, we came upstairs again. We said, hey, Edward, this is the application. And you showed it in the board, huh?
Yes. Yeah, my colleagues did a presentation in the board, and it was a working application. And that was very amazing, and there was a lot of enthusiasm. And that was the start. So you also already said to me much times that the CFO was so enthusiastic that he said, we have to do it or I'll have to pay it myself. Yeah, that was the start.
Yeah. So then, 8 years later, if we look back, we have built numerous applications. But what I think is very strong within AZL, that you have an architecture plan where you place the different applications. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah. We use the base layer model of Gartner. And as I already said, we are a traditional Oracle house. And in the basic layer, the systems of records, there are our core applications. The pension calculation application. And that's really stable applications. Future-proof, a lot of calculations to be done, and it's in an Oracle database. And when you look in the base layer and you go up front, also the pension administration has to do customer interaction on a digital way. So we designed portals, and when you look at the upfront at the base layer, that's the start where we used Mendix. But after the enforcement application, we already developed a participant portal for our participants, an employer portal, and a portal for our customers. And they're all in the upfront layer. And I was talking to one of the technical consultants in the start. Was one question, what is Mendix? Low-code Mendix was not familiar for us. And he said, you can compare Mendix to a Swiss knife. It can do a lot of things. And in practice, it's true. That's the reason. So we use it at the customer engagement layer, but also Labyrinth is an application that's it's trafficking all the digital or not digital communication with our participants. Who are digital, who not digital, who goes to the email, who goes to the national inbox. And enforcement, as already said, application on procurement from our customers. So we use Mendix in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, and I think the great challenge at AZL is you have 50 funds, but these 50 funds have different arrangements, have different users. So we have one Mendix application which is multi-tenant.
Yep.
So if you get in from fund A, you get a different look and feel, different kind of communication, but it's the same Mendix application. That's a big challenge, but also the big strength. And secondly, we are running the applications in the cloud, most of them, and the backend, the Oracle backend, is hosted on-premise.
Yes.
Sometimes in a weekend, the backend is going offline, but we, of course, have to be online 24/7 because the users won't wait. So we keep online, we keep all the transactions, we pretend they have been done already in the backend. When the backend gets live again, then we synchronize. That was a very big challenge, technical challenge, which our people, our technical consultants love, but it was quite a nice one. So this is the environment which we are working, and about a year ago, we added one nice application to this complete environment, the pension application, and we are very proud of it because we are already nominated for several prizes, Computable Award, also the Mendix Award for customer experience. So can you tell a little bit about this pension planner application?
Yes, we developed the first real customer journey in our participant portal, and we started with the most complex one, but also the most important one. And that's the decision the participant has to make on their pension calculation. 6 months before you retire, you have to fill in papers, make complex decisions. And we decided to do that process in a customer journey. At first, we did an interview with people who have experienced that journey in a traditional way. And the feedback we get, it was the paperwork, it was a lot of complex calculations, and most of all, when I fill in the papers, it's a really black hole. I send it to the administration factory, and I don't hear a thing. 6 months. Will it be all right? Is it all ready?
People get worried, huh?
Yeah. Did I get complete infill? Do I get the money when I retire? And we use that input to develop a customer journey. And we did that with Altuition. But most of all, we also did it with Bizzomate as partner for the building part, but with the customer. Pension fund ING was the one in the project which was supporting us in developing the customer journey. And it was a really nice project because it was a real cooperation project.
Yep.
A lot of sprints, a lot of complex customer journey, but we were very successful in bringing it to production in October.
And I think one of the components in the success was the involvement of your customer, of PFI, which was present in every sprint with 7, 8 people, sprint review, I should say. And then they gave us feedback. You should change this a little bit, or this is not working. They tested the application. So I think that was great. And I thought, if I go into pension, this is quite complex stuff for me as an end user, I would call it. So can I also, for example, compare scenarios, or do I get some advice? How does it work?
Yeah, the customer journey is built from scratch on end-to-end process, because the participant has to make choices, and we have make them really logical. Because when you make one choice, there may be other choices you can't make anymore, and we take the participant through those steps. We get a lifeline. You think that's a nice scenario. You can take that scenario and say, that's my scenario A, scenario B, scenario C, and you can compare scenarios. And on one time you say, that's the scenario, that's the moment, that's my decision. They go real as to pay to AZL, no manual administration within AZL. They go right in our core calculation tool, and we also listen to the feedback at front, because we build some notification moments in the customer journey. So let's say 100 years before retirement.
Days.
Days, oh yeah, years, days.
100 years is a lot.
Yeah, you get a notification, after 100 years you will retire, you start your longest vacation ever. Yes. And in the month when you retire, you get a notification, on that day the payment will be on your bank account. No worries.
So imagine I'm sitting at the couch, I have my mobile phone, I'm making scenarios about my pension plan.
Yes.
Hey, and in the past it was calling or in interaction with you on paper. I think that's customer experience squared. So, but now it sounds like a fairy tale. All of us know in a fairy tale there are also evil witches, and we saw some evil witches during our journey, during our fairy tale. So let's take a look back, and can you tell us a little bit about the evil witches?
Yeah, and then I'll take really a look back. When we started 8 years ago, you also said that it was no low code, it was
a rapid app development, they called it. There are so many names already. So.
And high productivity promises
high productivity,
also.
Yeah.
But after 2 or 3 years, I asked my IT manager, what's your experience with Mendix? And the feedback he gave to us was, I'm a bit of disappointing about the high productivity promise. It's not more productive than Oracle, for instance. And after 1 or 2 years cooperation with us, there was a moment when you came to me and you said, Edward, we don't get the most out of our cooperation. Yeah. The projects are moving not on a smoothly way. There has to be a better way. And you used the term water scrum. You said we are water scrumming. And we are a traditional waterfall organization about pension, about stability, and it has to be right on the spot. It's a way of working. It's waterfall. And when you start agile, you start low code in an agile way, but you do it on a waterfall attitude. It's getting messy. It's getting messy, yeah. And that was what you were seeing in the projects we did. We did people with what called calculations with 3 digital numbers behind, and they have to talk about minimal viable products. So that's the second thing about the base layer model of Gartner. It's about the way of working. Because we use the base layer model of Gartner, what's saying, in the systems of records layer, the waterfall method is fine. Yeah. It's secure, stable, it's comforting us. But in the portal, in the customer engagement layer, the more agile way of working is needed. It's outside in, it's co-creation that we did with the customer, but it's not standard our way of working.
I think that's also the strength, like we said before, we learn from AZL because, to be honest, we always thought agile working, that's so easy, but it's not. And so we learned a lot. So how can you get this organization to do what we think is best in the Mendix platform? And I want to stress that the fact that we were not getting the added value for AZL was not caused by Mendix. Because I'm a Mendix believer, the platform is doing what it's supposed to be. It's high quality, but how you work with it is really very important. So that also brings us a little bit to the point when we started in the cellar, which is kind of a joke still, inside joke, but there was a business IT gap. And if you look back now, 8 years later, at is that still existing? Do you see it getting smaller?
I think there's always be a business IT gap because they talk a different language and they have different responsibility. But when the traditional way of working is, business give their requirements and you make a functional design and you start to build and you do the testing and you go to production and then the user comes in and says, that's not what I meant up front. Yeah. So the more agile way of working, doing sprints, do a minimal viable product, look what it is and adjust, is a way of working that's closing the gap between the business and IT. But also here, it's not about the method or the way of working. It's about the people, the users. How do I participate in the project? Oh. I need to adjust my mindset, and then when it's not. I'm not doing it, somebody, a leader, has to say, it's not the way we want to work. Oh. So closing the gap between business and IT, it's not about tooling, it's about leadership. Yeah. It's about people who bring people together and create an environment which will be interesting to work with and saying the standards, that's the way we work. Yeah.
So that also brings us to the last part of the session already. Can you give a summary of, let's say, 3 tips and tricks for the audience, for the Mendix ecosystems, what they can use in their projects going out of this session?
Yes, I think the first one, the most important is be aware what is what you want to do. And what's the application you want to do, what's the way of working you want, and what are the capabilities within your organization to do that. So when you are a traditional waterfall organization and you want to work agile, don't be surprised that's been a hard project. Mm-hmm. So be aware, you start a project, the way you want to work, it has to suit your organization. Kindergarten, we learn, we make mistakes, and I think that's the second advice. Working with Mendix or another tool, working on an agile way, it's not, don't be afraid to make mistakes. You learn the most about mistakes. I think the third one is be honest. Be honest to yourself. What's your strength, but also what's not your capability. And ask for help. I don't think asking for help, for me, asking for help is a strength and not a weakness. Mm-hmm. And we did it. We ask you in a partnership, we make a partnership agreement to help us to the agile way of working. I think that's the three important lessons. But most important is, I think, start the journey. Learn, don't be afraid. Do anything, when you want to do something new, go ahead.
Like Nike said, just do it.
Yes, going on a holiday is everybody likes it, and you have to do also journeys within your organization. Yeah.
So I, as an entrepreneur, I always say within Bizzomate we are writing a storybook, an adventure book, and every day we write a new page, and every month a new chapter. And I'm really proud of that. AZL is already for 8 years part of that complete book, and I'm really thankful, Edward, that you shared in an honest way your experience, because often you hear only the nice stories, but I think in every fairy tale there are some things, the evil witches, and there you learn more than from the beautiful Snow Witches, Snow Whites. So thank you very much for listening in. If you have questions, Edward Heijkers, AZL, Mark Heijkers, Bizzomate, send us an email, give us a call, or maybe next year we'll see you on Mendix World Alive, hopefully, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.